Can the Cowboys win a Super Bowl with a below-average defense?
Well, can the Cowboys, look, let me say this. When you watch the Cowboys play, it's high risk, high reward, right? Because they don't have a dominant pass rusher. And so when you can't get to the quarterback by having a Von Miller or DeMarcus Ware, who was once there, now you have to blitz to create pressure, which then isolates your DBs one-on-one, which is, you saw last week, them playing the Redskins. And to see them, how their scheme is when they play, it's alarming when you sit back and watch them from a defensive perspective. You're saying, wait a minute, how in the heck they gonna stop anybody when they're doing it? And so take the defense out of it because I think they have their own struggles. But when you ask yourself a real question about the Cowboys, how they can do it, Shay, simply by ball control offense, right? If you think about what they're doing on offense, if you think about all of the multiple championships that Tom Brady won, they never had a top 5 and a top 10 defense. They just always, Brady was so smart in controlling the ball. If you think about the time of possession right now, Dallas, they lead the league, best in the league right now with over 32 minutes of time of possession. They lead the league over almost a minute over that. Understanding what that means, when you can control the ball like that in a football game, your defense don't have to be so great, they just don't have to be so bad either, right? And then so when you think about what they do on third downs, one of the biggest downs, and you know this in football.
Money down.
That's the money down. When you're sitting there and you're saying to yourself as a defense, you're saying, okay, Dad, go get this third down, go get this third down. Whether you get the third down to go get points or not, you change field position. And so now if you change field position for them, now instead of going a 60, 50, 40, 50-yard field, now you're going 80 yards every time you play against them. So if you watch the way the Cowboys are really winning, I'm telling you, Ezekiel Elliott is so key because people don't know. Every time he gets up and run that ball and he runs for 7, 8, 9, 10 yards, and he get up talking about feed me and all this stuff. When he does that, the clock is saying tick, tick, tick. And if you're a defense, you're saying, man, keep going. You know, it was really interesting because when we played, never forget in 2000, man, Jamal came in as a young rookie just like Ezekiel Elliott. We like, feed him the freaking ball. Give him the ball. And what was funny was because we had the same 2-3 back tier that we had, that the Cowboys had. Priest Holmes was backing Jamal Lewis up. So Jamal was touching the ball 25 plus times. Priest was touching it 12 to 15 times. So if you average that up in a ball game and talking about what that looks like, by the time we get on the field, you may be limited 2 possessions in a quarter. You may get 2 possessions in a quarter. And that's why I think the Dallas Cowboys, now, if you run into a Seattle Seahawks, now you may have a different issue. Because now that defense, I don't know if it's going to give up that many points against the Dallas Cowboys. Russell Wilson is a magic man getting out of the pocket and exposing people's defense. So I think in the NFC, that could be a real problem for them. But overall, I think if Dallas can control the ball, I think they have a good chance, but I still think they have a problem in their secondary.
So you think if it comes to Seattle, you would not like Dallas' chances?
I mean, that's a hard out for them. I mean, that's one team that defensively who's about to get Michael Bennett back, about to get all these guys back.
Yep.
When they start to get these guys back and they pick up that steam.
So how many 3-and-outs could Seattle force against Dak and Zeke?
Yeah, and see, and so where the game comes down to, though, is I'm gonna bet on Seattle's defense against Dak and Ezekiel. But on the flip side, you take Russell going against that defense with what he does, getting out of the pocket and all these different things. I think it becomes a different ball game.
I think they can win the Super Bowl with a below-average defense.
You do?
I do. And I'm gonna tell you why.
Well, you've come completely around today.
But they can. But let me tell you why. But it puts a lot of pressure on the offense.
Yes.
When you don't take the ball away as a defensive perspective, you damn sure better not give it away on the offensive side of the football, because if you give them more cracks at that defense than what they normally face, you're asking for trouble.
Yep.
And see, that puts so much pressure because Dak knows 1 interception. Zeke says 1 fumble. So now that's an extra possession that defense must see. You don't want that. And that's a hard way to play. And because the playoffs is one game winner take all.
That's it.
Do I think a team could possibly beat the Cowboys 4 out of 7 times or 3 out of 5 times, Skip? Probably not. But one bad day by Zeke, one bad day by Dak, and it's over. Because I don't believe this defense, if Dak is having an off day and they shut down the run, I don't believe this defense can create 2 turnovers, 3 turnovers get a pick six or a scoop and score that says, okay, we got you today, O.
Yeah.
And people don't realize how hard it is to play like that, knowing that we can't turn the ball. As great as our defense is, we will still want them to face as fewer plays as possible because we want them fresh. We want when Ray and McQuarrie and Boulware and Woodson hit the field, they know we can turn it loose because, hey, when Jamal get the ball, Jamal's going to run it. We're going to get a big play to Shea, and, hey, lights out. It's hard to play. It's hard to play like Dak and them is playing because they've been, I mean, think about it. 11 games, and they turned the ball over seven times.
Yeah. 2 aspects of the game, and you win most ball games.
If you win the turnover battle, you're gonna win. You win the time of possession, there's a good chance you're gonna win. But Skip, boy, I sure hope for your sake, Skip, because I'm afraid that you're gonna pull out all your hair. If them jokers get to be 15-1, and then the first round and the divisional round, and Dak have a pick here and Zeke turn it over there, and that Cowboy defense have to get on the field a bunch.
It's possible, but not probable.